We had a feeling that one of the two big fish were going to be gone from the Toronto Raptors, whether it was going to be Kyle Lowry, whether it was going to be Norman Powell, or whether it was going to be both. Well, the news dropped at about noon, maybe. Norman Powell traded to the Portland Trail Blazers in exchange for Gary Trent Jr. and Rodney Hood. Raptor fans, look, let me tell you this straight up right away. I was looking at social media right after the deal went down, and I see Raptor fans saying, "What the hell was that? Stupid move." I see that, right? Then I go over to the Portland side. "What the hell was that? Stupid move." Everybody loves the player that they're giving up. So Raptor fans, let me give you a little bit of something here. Norman Powell, looking for a huge pay raise. And he's on the last year of his contract as well. So it was either give him that massive deal and really handicap yourself cap-wise, because you've already given out a lot of contracts, or deal him and get something back. And the Toronto Raptors, look, people can say, "Oh, there's so many teams interested. How is this the greatest deal? Blah, 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 blah." Can we not forget the fact that Gary Trent Jr. is a damn good-looking young player? Former second-round pick in 2018 by the Portland Trail Blazers. This kid has emerged this season. Over the past couple of years, he's progressively gotten better each season. And I have these notes written down here. In 2018-19, his first year in the NBA, obviously only averaged 2.7 points per game. As a second-round pick, you're not going to get much playing time. However, in 2019-20, he averaged a shade under 9 a game, and going into the playoff bubble, Trevor Ariza opted out of this season. So what does that mean? Gary Trent Jr., here's your opportunity, and he excelled. So what does that mean for this season? We know what he's doing right now. Okay, well, Gary Trent Jr. this season, in the 2020-2021 season, is averaging 15 points a game, 2.2 boards, and 1.4 assists. As a 22-year-old kid. Norman Powell is 28. People can say, "Well, Powell's a better player now. Powell's this, Powell's that." Look, has Powell emerged this season as an incredible scorer? Absolutely. Absolutely, he's been an unbelievable scorer this season. We have seen quite a few times how he's died off. Now, this year, he hasn't. That's why his value was so high. Maybe that's why the Raptors jumped on this and got a guy like Gary Trent Jr. By the way, Gary Trent Jr. is shooting 39% from three-point range this year. He can shoot the ball. He's a dog, an absolute dog on the defensive end. That reminds you of Norman Powell, right? Again, he's 6 years younger. And with Gary Trent Jr., he's just getting better and better. The fact that his points per game has gone up each season. The fact that his role on his team in Portland has gone up and up and up. They are a playoff team. He's an integral part to that playoff team. That tells me that he's playing some good basketball. Obviously, Lillard and McCollum, yeah, they're very good players out there. And that's going to be interesting to see how Norman Powell fits in with that combo of McCollum and Damian Lillard. So for the Raptors, you look at a Gary Trent Jr. He's an RFA at the end of the year. So you basically have him locked up. You have you're fine contract-wise with this guy. You just got to come to agreement when it comes to terms, which isn't a big deal. He's got the stats. He's grown. He's a grinded-out defender. Basically what Raptor fans love. A guy who can shoot the ball. A guy who's a grinded-out defender. And he ain't afraid to talk some smack. You grind and you want to talk some smack to him, you damn well know he's going to get up in your face and talk right back at you. Gary Trent Jr. is going to be a fan favorite. I got that feeling inside that he is going to be a fan favorite in this organization just because of the way he plays the game. Why do we all love OG Anunoby so much? He doesn't drop 30 a night. No, but he plays so damn good on that defensive end of the ball. Not comparing Gary Trent to OG. I'm just saying, the dog mentality. Why do we love Lowry? Dog. Why did we love Powell other than the scoring outburst that he's had all year? You know what you're going to get defensively from that guy every single night. Same goes for Gary Trent. The fact that Portland fans are, you always talk Raptor fans about how, how fan bases are very loyal to the people they have, when they love them, right? When you love a player and they trade away that said player, that fan base feels it. And at 22 years old, the way Gary Trent Jr. is playing this season, Portland fans, their fans are not happy about getting rid of Gary Trent Jr., especially for a rental in Norman Powell. So Raptor fans, take all this in right now and think, not bad. And we all talk about how our guards are so small. Kyle's not a big guy. Fred's not a big guy. Gary Trent Jr. is 6'5". Now, that's not big for centers, but for guards, it's a pretty decent size. So you add some size there as well, right? So Gary Trent Jr. could make an impact. And as for the other player the Raptors acquired, Rodney Hood. Now, obviously Rodney Hood, 28 years of age. Really, he's not going to bring a whole lot to this team other than, and you got to remember, the Raptors did trade Terrence Davis and Matt Thomas, so Rodney Hood might get some run here. The guy can shoot the three. He's had a very down season this year, averaging under 10 a game. He's shooting only 29% from three-point range. But just last season, in 2019-20, this guy shot 49% from three-point range. He averaged 11 a game, and he's got a career three-point percentage of 36% from beyond the arc. I'm not saying Rodney Hood's going to come out here and be an unreal player. Obviously, Gary Trent Jr. was the main piece in this deal. But Rodney Hood could make an impact on this team. Coming off the bench, you add a little bit of scoring, you add a little bit of three-point shot. Now, I don't know a whole lot about Rodney Hood. Maybe some of you guys have more insight on Rodney Hood. How is he in the defense at the end of the ball? Is he an all right rebounder? What is he going to bring to this team other than three-point shooting? Maybe that's for you guys to let me know in the comments. But am I mad about this deal? No. Am I sad to see Norman Powell leave this team, especially the way he talked last night about how, this is my home, this is my team, they gave me the opportunity, all these great things about the organization, and basically that he wanted to stay. And the fact that he got traded, yeah, it sucks, man. It really does. I love Norm. I love what he's done all year long, the way he's progressed and grown. The fact that we got that guy for Gravis Vasquez back in the day is still mind-boggling. But there comes a time where you have to make an adjustment. And this Raptor team is on that fence of, okay, well, are we a contender? Are we trying to get younger? Are we trying to get drafted? What are we trying to do? Gary Trent Jr. ain't no schmuck. He's 22 years old and a damn good basketball player. I'm hoping he's in the lineup against Phoenix tomorrow so we can get a look at him. Maybe I'll have to do a physical and whatnot, so maybe not. But hell, I'm jacked up to watch some Gary Trent Jr., guys. I don't know about you. I miss Norman Powell dearly. I wish you could stay with this Raptor team, but the business is you got to make trades to what your team needs are, basically, right? And this Raptor squad has kept all their draft picks, right? They acquired 2 second-round picks again today with trading with Terrence Davis and Matt Thomas, who, people look at that and say, well, now Matt Thomas, he's such a good player. Terrence Davis, kind of the breakout he had last season, but he's been really underwhelming this year and wasn't any good in the bubble. You got 2 second-round picks for him. Open up some roster spots. So that's why we all felt more that Lowry was going to get moved, but it didn't happen. So if I had to grade this deal for the Toronto Raptors, and it's a tough one because, again, we don't know a whole lot about Gary Trent Jr. If any Portland fans are out there trying to learn about Norman Powell, he's a great scorer. He's going to give you great stuff on the defensive end. He's an unbelievable player. Just get ready for some buckets. And Lillard and McCollum might have to share some, though, because he's been shooting unbelievable this year. And for Raptor fans and for Portland fans, what have we gotten in Gary Trent Jr. and Rodney Hood? And don't talk to me about Rodney Hood this year. Like, overall, what are we getting in these two players? From a Portland fan standpoint, who have seen these players, who has seen Gary Trent Jr. grow over the last 3 years, who has seen Rodney Hood over the last few seasons, let me know in the comments, guys. Go crazy. All right, so if I had to grade this deal for the Toronto Raptors as of right now, I'm going to go a B+. The reason being, you got 6 years younger and you acquired a guy who might slot in nicely in Powell's position, right? Maybe coming off the bench to start. I don't know. I don't know what their plan is going to be with Gary Trent Jr. I thought if Kyle Lowry was moved, then you might be able to slide him beside Fred VanVleet and then have him, Fred OG, and all those great things. But now with Lowry staying, it might change some stuff. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how the rotations are going to look with Gary Trent Jr., but I would give it a B+ because you got younger for one thing, 6 years younger, and you're not really losing a whole lot. He's still a great three-point shooter. Powell was shooting over 40% from three. This guy's shooting 39. You're not losing a lot there. You also acquired Rodney Hood, who could make an impact. So I go with a B+. Let me know in the comments, guys, what is your grade for the Toronto Raptors on this deal? What have you thought about Masai Ujiri's and Bobby Webster's trade deadline for the Toronto Raptors? Now, as I mentioned, there's a few other moves the Raptors made today. I mentioned them already, though. Terrence Davis got dealt to the Sacramento Kings in exchange for a future second-round pick, and Matt Thomas got dealt to the Utah Jazz for a future second-round pick. Well, I think the Utah Jazz one is Golden State's 2021 pick. So we're going to be having 2 second-round picks this year as well as our first. So that's great news for Raptor fans. Got to continue to build up the farm system, right? We got to continue to build that because this Raptor team is so good at drafting and developing their young players. So they need to keep doing that and to acquire a couple of draft picks from 2 guys who really weren't making an impact at all this season. They were basically coming off the bench in garbage time. You got 2 second-round picks out of it. It opened up some roster spots, and that's interesting, right? Because think about it, Raptor fans. Andre Drummond is kind of sitting around that buyout market, right? The Raptors just opened up some spots. Just an idea to think about and to fire around, all right? So you know what, guys? That is going to do it for this one. If you enjoyed the video and you like the trade for the Toronto Raptors, but you're going to miss Norman Powell, that's the way I'm feeling right now. Smack that like button. I do appreciate that. Hit the subscribe button if you guys have not already. Comment down below your favorite Norman Powell moment. Go for it. And if you guys do comment down below your favorite Norman Powell moment, I know you got to the end of the video, and I applaud you for it. My favorite Powell moment, oh, that's tough. It's got to be against Indiana in the young part of his career where he got the steal, the slam, where playoff Powell was born. You know, that was Norman Powell. That's where he kind of broke out. Obviously, he had some up and down seasons after that, but that's really where he made a name for himself here in Toronto. By far, his best moment, in my opinion. If you guys have any other great moments, let me know in the comments below. Twitter is down below. And also, what do you think of the deal? What do you think of Gary Trent Jr.? What do you think of Rodney Hood? Let me know in the comments. Twitter is down below for myself. Follow up, send me a DM, do all that great stuff. Guys, the Instagram link is down below as well, so follow up there if you've not done so already. And I will talk to you guys, Jay's Edition, on Tuesday. All right, as we'll be talking Jay's Edition, spring training games over the past week. As for the Leafs, they take on the Ottawa Senators tonight, 7 o'clock. I think it's the 7 o'clock puck drop in Ottawa. Jack Campbell gets the net yet again for the Leafs, looking for back-to-back victories and look to continue to play well because he's been unbelievable all year long, obviously in a very short sample size, but he's been very, very good. And as for the Raptors, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. I think it's a 7:30 tip-off at Amalie Arena. Raptors, Suns. Lowry will be in the lineup. Will Gary Trent Jr. and Rodney Hood be? Not quite sure right now, but all I know is the Raptors made a couple big deals today, or one big deal, and Lowry staying with the Toronto Raptors. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below, all right? And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Talk to you guys then.